Good afternoon, everyone. It's really a great pleasure to see you on this nice, snowy, beautiful, cold day. I was a little concerned, but I'm happy you're here. So if we'll just take a moment to stand and say the pledge, please. Serafina?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I would like all of us to have a moment of silence for passing of Alice Roker, who was clerk for Yorktown for many, many years. I do have to say a little bit about Alice. I've known her for so many years. She was always very kind, very quiet, smiling all the time. So she will be missed, but I know she is blessed. Thank you. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Okay, we're going to have an introduction of our members, please.
Francis McVitie.
Daryl Lindholm,
Barbara Leifels.
Rosemary Panio,
Jenny Menton.
Serafina Mastro.
Deborah Marks, Liaison to Assemblyman Slater's office.
Joe Falcone, Liaison Recreation Commission.
Diana Quast, Town Clerk.
All right, thank you, everybody. All righty, we're going to try and go through this quickly because I know the weather is not the greatest out there, and we'd like to get moving on. So we're going to have Wendy McNamara, please, to come up, introduce her speaker for the day. We have a very, very, very interesting speaker with a couple of handouts, and I'm sure you're going to enjoy it.
you have to. She can go the other way. Sure.
Hi, everybody. Nice to see you. Hope you're staying safe. We're trying to work out making sure the presentation is ready to go. But in the meantime, if you don't know me already, I'm Wendy McNamara, Community Affairs Coordinator, New York Presbyterian Hudson Valley Hospital, and I'd like to thank the board for inviting us to speak. New York Presbyterian Hudson Valley Hospital is your neighborhood hospital, serving the heart of the Hudson Valley community with specialties in cardiology, cancer care, digestive health, orthopedics, obstetrics, and gynecology. In a minute, it's going to be my pleasure to introduce one of our community partners, Amy Beth Whistle from Sharp Again. Sharp Again is the recent recipient of a New York Presbyterian Community Fund mini grant, which allows them to come out and speak to groups such as this. Sharp Again's mission is to educate the public and medical community about preventing dementia and improving brain health, to empower everyone to take charge of their cognitive health and general well-being, to support lifestyle changes that can improve cognition and may slow or reverse memory loss using a scientifically based multi-therapeutic approach. And memory loss can affect anyone at any age, so it's important to start early in identifying it and finding ways to cope with it and improve your brain health, which is what this partnership is really about. Amy Beth Whistle is a professional health supportive chef, board-certified health coach, and applied functional medicine certified practitioner. Amy Beth has certifications in holistic health from the Natural Gourmet Institute in Chelsea, New York, the Institute of Integrative Nutrition, and the School of Applied Functional Medicine, which have equipped her to help others achieve profound, lasting change. And it looks like I stretched this out just enough time to get the presentation going. So without much further ado, it's my pleasure to introduce Amy Beth Whistle from Sharp Again.
While she's coming up, do you want to come over here?
And before I forget, I want to thank the hospital really for supplying this delicious lunch that we're all enjoying right now. Thank you.
Our pleasure.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. It's my pleasure to be here with you today. Let's see. I have a little bit of a technical difficulty, so we'll see if we can figure it out. As Wendy said, I'm here representing Sharp Again, and Sharp Again's mission is to educate and empower and support all of us to take a more active role in our cognitive health using scientifically based multi-therapeutic approaches. As we've seen, a one-pill-fits-all model is not working for people. Our vision is a world where dementia can be prevented, treated, and reversed, and where everybody has the ability to remain cognitively healthy throughout the duration of their lives. So let's talk a little bit about what normal aging does and does not look like. Normal aging might be, I misplaced my keys. I occasionally can't find a word. It's on the tip of my tongue. It might be that you just misplace things. So that's pretty much normal, right? Where we start to have concern is, are you misplacing things consistently? Do you forget conversations that you've had, or perhaps appointments that are on your calendar? These are things that, as they start to show up more and more, are signs of a possible subjective decline, and they're worth paying attention to. So, what are the stages of cognitive decline? We have, normal cognition, where most of us are now. Maybe there's no detectable change in terms of what you would see on a test. Maybe you're starting to notice some of the things that I talked about, but again, it wouldn't necessarily show up to anyone on the outside. Then you have subjective cognitive impairment, where these things are becoming more and more apparent to you, and perhaps not detectable to other people, but and not detectable on a test. Now, it is worth pointing out that if you're someone who does historically test well, then you may be somebody who kind of is able to not show up as experiencing cognitive decline when you already are. So I say this because I don't want you to use a test as a gauge for when you reach out for help. It actually makes more sense to reach out when you start to notice these subjective things, similarly to how you wouldn't ignore feeling a flutter in your heart or, pain in some part of your body. These are clues that our brain is giving us and wants us to pay attention to. So then we have mild cognitive impairment, where these changes are starting to become apparent to friends and family and are starting to show up on a test. And then finally, the dementia, where your cognitive issues are starting to be severe enough to impact day-to-day life. And it's worth noting that this period from subjective to mild can be pretty lengthy, and then from mild to full-on dementia can also be very lengthy. And, that really depends on the individual, of course. So I want to talk to you a little bit about some of the preventable causes of dementia. Some of the things that we know about: toxins in your food, your water, and your air. So many of you may be reading about bottled water and how microplastics and chemicals in your water can leach from the bottle into your water. So maybe you're taking steps to make sure you have better drinking water through a filter or through using a reusable glass bottle or metal. Maybe you are paying attention to your home. Did it just have a paint job done and you have organic compounds that are off-gassing, or furniture? So do you open your windows, no matter what the season, and just get a cross breeze for 5 minutes a day? Sometimes the air in our homes is more toxic than the air outside. Do you have hormonal imbalances? Are you one of the millions of undiagnosed subclinical hypothyroid in this country? Or are you someone who's in a stage of life where maybe testosterone has dropped, or you're in menopause or postmenopause, where there's a decrease in progesterone and estrogen and some of these things that are heart and brain protective? Do you have a steady insulin supply? So do you have a steady supply of blood sugar all day, or are you having peaks and valleys, which for sure take a toll on the brain? Also inflammation, which can come from so many different places. You could have low-level inflammation from a dormant virus that is reactivated because you're too stressed out or under-rested. Perhaps it's Epstein-Barr or COVID or shingles and chickenpox. These things can start to reactivate and potentially create levels of inflammation that are low level but deleterious over time. And then there's heavy metal toxicity. Is it something that you were exposed to through the workplace? Here's an interesting tidbit. I think, were you potentially exposed to lead as a child? The body, in its brilliance, will sequester lead into the bone to keep it from circulating in order to protect us, right? But then as we age and we go through perhaps menopause, maybe you start to develop osteoporosis, the bone lets go of this stored lead, and suddenly you have circulating lead in the body. So these are things that nothing happens in a vacuum. All of these things that have happened to us over the course of our lifetime are things that help to lay the stage for all sorts of different diseases. And if we can get at the root of these and have an effect on as many as possible, then perhaps we can reverse or prevent or prolong any cognitive decline. Trauma is also incredibly important in that grief. Grief has a hugely negative impact on the brain. Depression is considered a risk factor for dementia. So these are things we want to be mindful of. Are we addressing these things? And then finally, medication effects. Are you taking a medication that is helping drive down your cholesterol, but it's driving it so low that your brain isn't getting enough cholesterol in order to function? Are you taking a blood pressure medication that your doctor has not adjusted in years, and now you're experiencing some sort of dizziness, perhaps, related to dehydration, and you have a trip and fall, which, as we know, a fall can be the beginning of the end when you wind up in a rehab facility where you're surrounded by lots of microbial invaders. You're potentially isolated, even though you're surrounded by people. You're not in your normal routine, and you're not moving as much. So I just want to preface this, or actually follow this up by saying, please do not change anything you're doing with your medication without first having a very in-depth conversation with your provider. That is not the goal. Okay, so these are all preventable things that we talk a little bit more about in our one-on-one coaching programs, but the things that we focus on the most, I want to talk about now. These are all things that you can do today, and I would leave here a very happy person if you took one thing away from here and said, this is an actionable thing I can do. I can drink more water. I can, do intermittent fasting. I can try to get more sleep. If you take away any one thing, this will not be for naught. Okay. So sleep, 7 to 9 hours per night. I don't mean in bed 7 to 9 hours laying there. I mean actual good quality sleep that has some facets of REM sleep, deep sleep, and light sleep, right? Just laying in bed doesn't count. If it did, I think we'd all be in pretty good shape. You have to factor in how many times are you getting up to go to the bathroom, or, waking and maybe having some difficulty getting back to sleep. How much is your total? Sleep is very neuroprotective, and when we go to sleep, there is a process that happens that's sort of like having a washing machine running. I know there's a lot coming at you. When we don't get proper sleep, that wash cycle doesn't complete, and then we're not able to clear the cellular debris that can create brain fog. Nutrition is hugely important, one of my favorite things as a chef to talk about. I always like to tell people that eating junk food is a double negative, because not only are you not getting the nutrient that you need, it also has an impact. Trying to process processed food requires nutrient. So if you're not putting it in and then you're taking it out in order to process these things, we don't have a pantry in our left butt cheek that we can just dip into every time we need something, right? We have to make sure that we're putting it in there so that the body has everything it needs in order to function. A very plant-based, heavy Mediterranean diet seems to be the way to go, and is also pretty flexible for most people, I think. Exercise is, of course, it's the magic bullet. That's the pill that if everyone was taking, we probably wouldn't need me up here. The more you are moving your body, the more oxygenated blood is getting to all of your organs and to your brain. So the minimum guidelines are 180 minutes per week, which is 30 minutes a day, 6 days a week. And if you can find something that brings you joy, and that also touches on the social piece, that's one way to get two really neuroprotective things in at one time. If you can find a buddy to walk with, if you can do chair yoga with somebody, these are things that are going to keep your brain functioning longer and better. Mental activity, which could be anything like brain games, Lumosity or Brain HQ. Those are good suggestions, but also Duolingo, which is an app on your phone where you can learn a language. I'm learning Spanish with my son, and that's something that's going to challenge my brain every day to make new neural pathways, and it's also going to strengthen the ones that are existing. Or, learn chess, or go back to an old hobby. These things are really important for keeping our brains fresh. Stress is... It's a word that we all throw around, and it's challenging to get a handle on. There's two things you can do about it, right? You think about what stress can I possibly remove, and you do everything you can to remove it. And then what can I do to mitigate the stress I have? Because some things, there's nothing you can do anything about. Meditation is an amazing tool. It can be challenging for people. I get it. I have a mind that's usually going 65 miles past where I'm at. So things like guided meditation, or even just deep breathing, or going for a walk in nature with no phone, no music, no attachments, just noticing what's happening around you. These are all really powerful things. And then finally, the socially active piece, which it's great to see that you all are gathering here today in the middle of a cold, wintry February. That piece is not to be diminished in any way. In fact, we are social creatures, and communicating with each other is one of the best ways to strengthen our brains, because the act of communicating, of taking in information, of processing it, of responding, of reading emotion in each other's faces, these things are all incredibly important. Okay, I realize there's a lot coming at you, so I just want to tell you about a few more things. We have this foundational coaching program that we think is incredibly powerful for helping people to address the four major easy to get at lifestyle issues, which are sleep, stress, nutrition, and fitness. And so our coaching programs are 6 sessions within a group. We talk about those setting goals. We're accountable to each other. We share resources and information. And then in the beginning and in the end, you have a one-on-one with a coach to help you set your goals. And we also, again, lots of resources and educational videos. We think that this is worth at least $450, but we charge $99 for it in order to try to make it as accessible as possible. There are some incredible resources that I've come across in this work that can help people have shown to reverse cognitive decline. However, they're incredibly expensive and a little bit out of reach for some people. We want to bring home the message that there are things that you can do, and you don't need a trunk load full of supplements or a designer plan. You can simply address these 4 areas, and you can do it with help and support. So we hope that you'll consider that. There's information on the back table. We are currently enrolling through for our coaching programs through the rest of this year. The one that's coming up is March 20th, and that is registration goes through March 5th. Okay, so, oops, I went too far back. Sorry. Lastly, before I get to the Q&A, want to tell you about our webinar programs. The factors that I talked about that were very in-depth outside of nutrition, sleep, stress, and exercise, those were all things that we talk a little bit more in-depth about in our expert webinar series. That happens not actually every month. Sorry, I'm just trying to get back to the dates. They are listed, actually, can I grab? I'll give this right back. So we have one coming up, the Sugar in Your Diet, Friend or Foe for Brain Health. And Dr. Penelope McDonald, who's an integrative and functional medicine doctor, is going to be presenting. And then in addition, we have one coming. It's listed in the back. My apologies, because I can't get the slide to go back. That one is about how to downsize. And our environment can have a huge impact on our mental health. So being able to downsize and get rid of clutter and perhaps get our houses ready to turn over to somebody else, or me personally, I keep trying to whittle down everything I have in storage. This webinar will be for you if you're having trouble coming up with a plan and getting started. So I'm going to take a deep breath now and ask if anyone has any questions for me.
Can I ask you one?
Wait a minute, I think.
Is there a connection between Parkinson's and dementia?
So Parkinson's is in the family of dementia-related illnesses, and it does have...
Excuse me, could you repeat the question?
Oh,
Because
so I'm sorry. Tom did ask me. The question was, is Parkinson's related to Alzheimer's and dementia? And it is in that family of illnesses, and but does have a slightly different path and potentially different drivers in terms of what causes it. But I can't actually speak in great depth on it, but I do know heavy metal toxicity can be one of the contributing factors for that. Yes.
when you're talking about sleep and the amount of sleep that you need, how much REM sleep do you need per night? Is it broken up into different sections, or do you have the REM sleep all at one time? How does that work?
So the question is about REM sleep and how much we actually need to get. That answer is absolutely going to differ from person to person. And it's going to be different, potentially different nights of the week, different stages of your life, different seasons. Sometimes I think it depends on your circadian rhythms. It can depend on what your sleep hygiene is. You know, are you in a room that is set up optimally for you to get sleep? What are your routines and habits before you go to bed? There's an instructor that I once had talks about the sleep bus. And if you ignore the sleep bus when it shows up at your stop and you push down and catch a later bus, chances are you're not going to have very good sleep. Our deep sleep tends to occur earlier in the evening. So when you feel yourself starting to get sleepy, if you push that out, you might get less deep sleep or less good quality sleep. So my best advice would be to listen when the sleep bus comes, get on.
Does the sleep bus come at the same time every night?
I think that the sleep bus comes for us every night at the same time if we have a strong routine. You know, that might be dimming the lights right after dinner so that you're starting to tell your brain, I'm setting you up. This is what we're going to do every night. This is what we do. We're going to have a cup of tea now, and we're going to make sure it's not near bedtime so that we don't have to get up multiple times. But having some sort of routine every night is absolutely a way to send your brain the signal. This is what we're doing. This is happening.
Thank you.
Sure. Hi. Yes.
One of the questions that I just had was, these are all webinars. These are on our computers, our laptops, our desktops. And I have to say, I have a few friends that don't have laptops and desktops. How would you suggest I help them have them come for coffee and turn my laptop on? And
So the question is, how do I share this information with friends who don't have access to a computer for webinars? Well, one way is actually what you said. If you were to have a friend come over and you either watch it live so that you can have your questions addressed, or you watch a recording so that you can watch it together, that actually, not only do you get good information, but you're doing something social, which, as we said, is a really good idea.
We have a wonderful senior center where our seniors go for lunch. And sometimes they play bingo, sometimes they do other things, have speakers, sometimes they play games. Would that be a venue or
Absolutely.
that where the seniors, 2 or 3 seniors might get together and watch at the nutrition center, for example?
Absolutely. And we also try to have follow-up workshops based on the webinars, so that if you have created some concrete goals that you want to be accountable for, you can check in a week later and see how you did. It's absolutely possible to have Sharp Again come and to your organization, to your community center, and do a longer version of this presentation, or alternately on a different topic that you might be interested in. But I would definitely encourage you to look. We have a YouTube channel, and then our website has a link to our YouTube channel. It also has lots of different information on testing, where to find providers, on research. So there's anything that you could possibly need to know, you can find on the website, and you're certainly welcome to reach out by email if you have questions. And what's the website? So it's sharpagain.org. Thank you. I'm sorry,
It's on.
Oh, okay. Well, my email is up there if anyone has any specific questions. I would like to say that I changed my bags and left my business cards. That is a normal sign of aging.
No.
Yes.
Is there a checklist anywhere where you can go down and like check off many things you can check off these symptoms to see if you may have to consult a doctor? Is there a checklist available anywhere where you basically could look at the symptoms that may cause you to want to seek help?
So the question was, is there a checklist somewhere that would encourage you to seek help if perhaps you score a certain way? I actually can't say that I know for sure if that is on the website, but I know that there would be a resource there that would tell you where to go if in fact that's a concern. And of course, we have a roadmap in the back that I would encourage you to take. I can just grab yours really quick. We have 12 ways to keep your brain healthy, which if you were able to create a more concrete goal around any of these, I would strongly encourage that. Thank you. I'm not sure that necessarily answers your question, but there's definitely information there that I think would lead you to the right place. Does anyone have anything else for me? Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate you giving me time to share this today.
I have one last question.
Sure.
I'm a senior.
No.
And I have habits. And I find when I want to change a habit, it's almost impossible. In other words, to change my schedule or to change what I eat or when I go to sleep. You know, I have a pretty good sleep schedule. I have a pretty good eating schedule because I love to eat. So that's not a problem. But I find if there's any recommendations or suggestions in order to change a habit that would get me to turn these webinars on, or get me to the Nutrition Center to participate in a presentation by your organization, or something like that. Do you have a suggestion about changing habits?
So the question was, do you have any strategies or ideas around changing habits? And I will say that I think starting really slow is incredibly helpful. What we like about, the foundational program exists because there's research to show that when you do something within a group, there's a greater chance of success. You have the accountability, you have the camaraderie and compassion and support of a group, and I think that's a really great way to do it. If that's not for you, there is a book I recommend called Atomic Habits. And what I like about it, the author's name is James Clear. It's called Atomic Habits. And what I like about it is he talks about the science of behavioral change and how you need to break things down into smaller pieces and attack them in a micro fashion in order to see the results that you want. You're welcome.
Okay,
All right.
thank you.
Thanks again.
I know our supervisor and Dave are quite busy, and I was wondering if they'd like to come up together to give us a quick update. I thought I saw Dave. Did he leave?
He did, but talk about busy, he had to run. But he gave me his...
Okay. All right. Thank you. I'm sorry, but all right. Thanks a lot.
Good afternoon, everyone. I apologize about being late. I was actually, my odometer only goes 2 digits, so we were just celebrating someone turning 0. Tom Einwich, who was a member of our post, turned 100 yesterday. Oh. And I'm doing it, yes. Happy birthday, Tommy. So I met, they're having a little celebration for him, and I had to go there first, and just a great thing to see. And ironically, we were having a conversation because both my aunt and Tommy performed in vaudeville about the same time.
Wow.
Tommy was 5. He was a drumming prodigy. And we were talking about vaudeville and talk about sharp as a tack. So, yeah, and, I will say that if you do have memory issues in your family, like if someone had Alzheimer's in your family, it might be a good idea to start on any type of research and programs younger, because the younger you do it, the earlier they could intercede and look at it. My daughter and my wife, my wife's mother and my wife's grandmother both suffered with Alzheimer's. So it's important to keep up on that. And it was a great presentation. So please exercise the brain, get your sleep, and really follow up on this. If you have a history, it doesn't hurt to go in for a checkup from the neck up, as they say. So that being said, I'll start with Dave Paganelli. He had asked me to, he had a run. They are getting another salt delivery, and they have to mix the chemicals into the salt so it's more effective in the cold. He just wanted to make sure that everyone is very careful. This weather, like today it's in the 40s, I think, low 40s, 41 maybe. 33? I thought it was supposed to get to 40. Alexa lied to me. Tomorrow? I just can't trust Alexa anymore. She's been awful to me. But when it warms up over freezing, you get dripping water off of your roofs and out of your drains, and then that freezes up overnight when the temperature goes down again. So please be careful, because sometimes you walk out, and if that sidewalk is a dark sidewalk, you don't notice it, and it's a slip and fall hazard waiting to happen. So please be real careful. I know we have that problem on my front steps. We go out with the salt every morning after a warm day, and make sure that gets salted down, because it's very, very dangerous. So that was what Dave was looking to talk to you about. I will just say that we've been working with the senior advisory for quite a while, and trying to recognize the fact that we've in the town have had a problem with senior housing. And actually, in general, we've had a problem with housing now as a country. I heard the numbers yesterday that were astronomical of the housing shortage in the United States. But I believe that this Tuesday is coming back a project to rezone the old contractors registry. They've been through a lot of stuff, and I think they have their finalized EIS coming in, environmental impact study. And that'll be a 55 and over rental community, which is nice for those who are looking to maybe sell their house and do something else, and they're not sure what yet, whether it's buy a condo, buy a co-op. Unfortunately, some people move to that warmer weather. They don't want to deal with the slip and falls and the ice, and they look for something temporary. So I think it's a great thing that one of these projects is looking at some rental type of properties. And they're going to be coming back, so hopefully we'll have some good news along that line soon. And I think that Toll Brothers is moving forward in planning, and that's another 55 and over, but that's a purchase of a luxury townhouse. But two big projects that
Where?
are coming along. The townhouses up. The townhouses will be up on Catherine Street, which is by Yorktown Rehabilitation, formerly the Field Home, and it's property that was owned by the Field Home back in the day, and you know they had hoped for it to be 55 and over community, so it fits in with, you know, the goal and the mission that they had as well, to have services all localized over there. So that's
And
coming.
where is the other one?
The old contractors registry is if you get off Route 6 and the Taconic, right in front of you is the billboard for the town events, and then there's a hill going up. It's actually up that hill. You would go around. You would have to head a little east, make a left, and go up, and then you're able to access that site. But it's they're actually going to be using the existing footprint. They're going to be adding a lot of recreational, both passive and active recreational for the community, and it should be a wonderful, wonderful project when they're done there. Kathleen, I'll ask if there are questions towards the end. What else did we have for you? You know, we're getting through the winter. It's been a little tough on the ice storms. I know we had to purchase some more salt, but it's important with the, you know, you can't scrape the roads and destroy them with the plows during this, so salting is a way to go. Where we're spending a little extra money on salt, by not plowing roads that don't have a lot of snow on them, we're saving the lifespan of the road, which we all know is important. But you know, it's been great working with Highway Superintendent Dave Paganelli, and being able to, you know, work hand in glove to try to keep the roads safe and do that. And we've had a great relationship over the 10 years, and it's just gotten stronger, and we are doing more and more as we go along. Are there any questions I can answer? I know, Kathleen, you had your hand up.
Yes, thank you. You mentioned the rentals on this contractor's registry being for 55 and older. Is that going to be income related in any way?
I do not believe so. I believe it's market
Strictly
rate.
age.
Yep, strictly age and market rate.
Just age. Thank you.
Any? Yes.
Is there a timetable on that being available?
You know, for the rentals, they need to, they still need to get the final approval from the town board on the rezoning, and then they need to go through the planning board. I would hope that they are able to break ground in the fall, but it may be a little longer, and so I would imagine if they are able to break ground in the fall, we might see something by the end of 26, beginning of 27. Yes.
What's happening to the field home, the white building?
What's happening to the field home, the white building, the old actual field home? Right now, there's an RFP out for that, which is a request for proposals on an adaptive reuse. I am very against the town taking ownership of it. I'd like to see if there's something we could do that someone takes it over, it gains taxes, or it's a long-term lease agreement. Because I don't think the town should be in the business of being a landlord and putting the burden of a building that's basically over 100 years old onto the backs of the taxpayer. I don't think that that's appropriate. I would love to save that building just because it's got a couple of examples of architecture that it's a first in, and mainly it is a first in what's called unreinforced concrete. So now where we use rebar to strengthen concrete walls, that was actually built before that was an option. And it's really a very marvelous piece of architecture. They also have an old church that's the oldest part of the building that's attached to it. And while it's in a lot of disrepair, if you go in there and imagine what it once was, it's pretty amazing. You can see the old pews, the grates, and the heating grates that are all intricately made, the carvings, just a really beautiful, beautiful piece of architecture. And while I feel it's important to preserve that. I just don't think that the town, A, can afford to on the backs of our taxpayers, but more important, we do not have a great track record going back into the past. There was a house that was dedicated to the town. I'm drawing a blank on the name.
Bernstein.
Sorry?
Bernstein property?
The Bernstein property, thank you. And the town held it, and then held it a little longer. By the time someone came in to take it over, and it was Mark Franzoso, who's a phenomenal contractor, it was too late to save the structure. And it's an unfortunate thing, but there are so many priorities that we need to look at as a government, and safety, well-being, the schools, public safety, our fire and ambulance. So there are a lot of different priorities, and it's a lot harder to stretch that tax dollar. And we feel it's extremely important that we're responsible with those expenditures, and we need to think outside the box on a way to save the building. And it has, if someone wants to get in there, that would be the most amazing thing, because they'll have ownership, and they'll care for it, and they'll renovate it, and they'll do what needs to happen. Any other questions?
Out of curiosity, the building across the street, the one with the pool inside, I don't remember, there was a halfway house at some point. Is that someone in there, or?
Well, you're talking about, not a halfway house, it was a rehab. Yep. So I believe someone is in there. The original people left. Another very responsible company took over. That's the third house up, I think, second or third house up. They've been doing a lot of great work. I know some people that work with like the AA groups in town and some other rehabilitation programs. There are people that have been coming there. They have gotten a lot of support, guidance, and there've been no problems up there. So it's all been a very, very, very positive. I believe they're still there. I haven't heard of them leaving. It is a beautiful house. It would make a wonderful bed and breakfast if it ever comes on the market. Just an idea out there. I thought about it at one time. Oh, I thought about doing it myself, because that's my business from the past. But right now they're in there, and it's good that we don't know that, because that means there was a lot of fear in the beginning. What is this going to bring into the community? And I think that we need to lose that stigma of what drug addiction or any addiction is, and realize it's an illness, and it's something that we need to help support and work with. And I think they do some great work over at New York Presbyterian Hudson Valley Hospital. And a lot of the different programs in town. Our Lions for Safe Kids, they work with Drug Crisis in Our Backyard. There are a lot of great recovery programs that are so important. The human thing to do is to support. And, I've dedicated a lot of my personal life to working with groups like Alliance for Safe Kids, the Lions, my brother Vinny, United for the Troops, Lust Garden Foundation. It goes on. I've done a ton of these things, and it's because in Judaism we do mitzvahs. You do your blessings. You take care of your people, and it's very, very important. And I encourage that from everyone.
Well, thank you. If there are no other questions, we'll move on so we can move out also. But I don't want the weather to hurt anybody, but we do have other speakers coming up. Jim Moderano, if you could come up and introduce your speaker. Thank you. Yeah. Right, thank you.
Just really quick before we get into the speaker, we have a number of trips coming up for the seniors here. And if you're interested in any of these trips, you can come to our office over at the Community Center and pick up the registration form and send it over to Richard Da Silva. We have coming up Resorts World Casino in March 27th. We have on May 1st, Dream Girls. That's going to be over at the West Perf Arts Center. That's on May 1st. On May 29th, there's going to be a Celine Dion tribute trip That's May 29th. And then on June 18th, Resorts World Casino and Buffet and a Divas concert. And then on June 27th, May 31st, I missed that one, and to June 2nd, that's a trip to Boston. So a lot of fun trips coming up. I was going to say the June 27th, but believe it or not, that's already sold out. That's a boat ride along the Hudson in New York City. So that one's already sold out. So yeah, you want to jump on these soon before they do sell out. They do sell out quick. But we're very excited to have our next speaker come up. This speaker comes from Habitat of Humanity, the Westchester branch. They are the Home Ownership Program Manager, Marnie Hendrickson. Come on up.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me today. Speaking of housing crisis, we have our way with this Plus One ADU program that we're trying to deal with it. We are partnering with the state of New York in this program. We're providing homeowners with $125,000 grants to put an ADU, an accessory dwelling unit, which is like an apartment, in your home, either in your basement, in your attic, as an addition on your house. You can convert your garage or have a freestanding unit. It depends on the zoning exactly what will be allowed in your house, but Yorktown is grouped together with Croton-on-Hudson and Cortland. And between the three municipalities, we've been awarded $2 million for this program, which translates into 16 units, 16 ADUs. We launched this in these northern municipalities in September. And so far, we have 2 moving forward to the construction phase in Yorktown, 2 in Cortland, and 2 in Croton-on-Hudson. It isn't necessarily that we're going to divide them up equally. It's a first come, first served thing. The way you qualify for this program is you have to be 100% AMI or less. AMI is area median income. So it's not a really low income program, but it's not for people with a lot of money. The idea is to help people remain in their homes. So we're thinking it's a great idea for seniors. Seniors can have a couple of options with a program like this. You could build the ADU, move into that yourself, and rent out your house, or stay in your house and rent out the ADU. A lot of people in our other municipalities are using it for a household member. Maybe you want to have, to live with your kids or something like that, and they take the house and you go into the ADU. There's all different kinds of scenarios that can work. So just an example of the AMIs, a household of 1, you're allowed to make $107,000 a year, and you would qualify for the program. Household of 2, $125,000 and on up. The other thing you need to qualify for the program is you must own your home, and you must live there, and you must be committed to remaining in the home. Because once you sign on with the program and get your ADU, there's a 10-year compliance period where you need to remain in your home and the unit needs to be occupied. Of the $125,000 grant that you get, it seems like a lot of money, but we take some soft costs out of there also. You hire an architect, those fees come out of there. Habitat takes some administrative fees out of there, permitting and other things. You might have to hire an engineer to do some work. So what you will have for actual construction is more like $100,000. Also, this program is for legalizing an illegal ADU. A lot of people have some kind of apartment in their house already, but doesn't have a C of O. It's not really legal. We want to get all those legalized. A lot of times it's not that big of a deal. For the legalizing piece of this puzzle, the 125 is usually enough to get that done. I have someone, let's see, I'm trying to think of the scenarios that I have in Yorktown right now. One of the people in Yorktown who's going forward is doing just that. He built an apartment in his house. It's lovely. But his septic system, he was on septic. His septic system didn't have the capacity to add this bedroom for the ADU. And so he was stymied because that was going to cost him about $50,000 with the engineer and everything. So he was just like, it was just empty, you know. So, because the town knew about it. So we're moving him forward, and he's going to get everything done. And that's just, you know, just great. Creating another housing unit in your town. The other person in Yorktown, another nice story. She has a house. She initially wanted a standalone unit. For her daughter has Down syndrome. Is now an adult. She wants her to stay close, but the daughter wants some independence. So we're building the ADU for her. Her zoning wouldn't allow a standalone, so we put a breezeway. So now it's an addition, and now it's going to be allowed. So that's another nice story.
That's nice.
So there's all different kinds of reasons people do this. You know, that I would assume for a lot of seniors, if you're on a fixed income, it's a way to deal with increasing costs and everything. There is no limit to how much you can charge for the apartment. Doesn't have to be a low income apartment. Whatever the market will bear, you can get. Because what we're trying to do is make money for you so that you can stay there as your taxes increase, as your, you know, you know how life is these days. Everything just keeps getting more expensive. So we have just 6 ongoing in your area, so we have 10 more to go. Plus, we had 2 rounds of funding. We're also there are 7 municipalities we're doing in Westchester. Irvington, Bedford, Dobbs Ferry, and Hastings-on-Hudson are the others. They were in the first round of funding, and we're having trouble getting enough people there because those are very wealthy areas.
Right.
And there's some roadblocks from zoning, and there's also not everybody wants that sort of thing. So they're going to move some of that money up north.
Good.
In March. So I may get an extra $1 million up here.
Good.
And I'm pretty sure I'm going to, because that's what I've requested. I have a lot more inquiries in Yorktown, Croton-on-Hudson, and Cortland. I have a lot of inquiries. The problem with Cortland is almost everybody's on septic. And the septic system has to be cleared by the Westchester Department of Health before we can go forward. And that's proving to be very difficult because almost everybody has to upgrade their system. That adds a lot of time, a lot of expense, and so that sort of stops people. So hopefully, you know, I want you to tell anyone you know who you think might be interested. Another thing I wanted to mention is that if you're building from scratch and it's not something you're legalizing or something that's partially done already, it's going to cost more than the $125,000. So there is going to be a homeowner contribution. That's what has been difficult about this program. But if you know that up front and, you know, and do the math and it works for you, then it might be something you want to consider. Let's see what else. And that's pretty much it. Can I ask for questions? Yeah.
Could you clarify a standalone unit with a breezeway? Is there a key so that the person can't come into the main dwelling?
There has to be a separate, in any of these. If you have it in the basement. Yeah. Oh, sorry. She's saying if you have a breezeway to connect it to the house. Go ahead, say it again.
Well, is a standalone mean that person does not have a key to get into the main house?
The person does not have, say, oh, this. It was making a noise. She wants to know that, make sure that the tenant wouldn't be able to be entering the same way, the house the same way you would be. Everything's a separate entrance. Yeah. That would be a separate entrance. It's just attached for that,
Particular one.
that particular instance we had to do that. Most standalones, the problem in Yorktown is some zoning areas allow a standalone, some do not. So that was getting around the rule.
And is that a relationship where there would be a lease? The homeowner would have a lease with the tenant?
Yes, we do. We also do, she wants to know if homeowners have a lease with the tenant. Yes. Of course, if it's a family member, you don't need that. But if it's someone from the outside, yes, you have a lease. We ask for, we call it long-term lease. All that means is at least 6 months, meaning it can't be an Airbnb or something like that. It has to be.
Considered long-term?
Yeah, between 6 months and a year, or most leases are 6 months, a year, or 2 years. We do some landlord training at the end of once the ADU is finishing up, so that you have some training for that, because you need special insurance, and then just how to deal with utilities and things like that.
Would that money include a new electrical panel for the unit?
The way the money works is, it's $125,000. We use it first. So when you apply, the way it works is, you apply to me, I qualify your income and home ownership, then I give you a list of architects, you select an architect, you sign a contract with that architect, you sign a contract with the contractor, but I pay them. Habitat pays them directly. You don't pay anyone directly. And then we use up the money. So some people need a survey first. Some people need an engineering for their septic first. All architects require some money up front to do those drawings and things. We pay for all that. Then once the construction starts, we pay the contractor until we run out. And then you're responsible for the rest.
And do you have a range of what the homeowner's responsible amount is?
Yes, it's anywhere from our one friend in Yorktown who has 0, which is great, all the way up to the woman with the standalone is putting in $185,000 of her own money.
Of her own money. I want to move there.
Well, the thing is, I mean, it's a very nice. It's a 2-story. It's like a little house, and she's doing it like that because it's for her daughter and forever. So. Yes.
I have a couple of questions. It really sounds wonderful because you're getting this extra money, but now your taxes are going to go up.
Yes.
And then how does that affect the STAR program and the Enhanced STAR program that you might be?
You still have the STAR program and the Enhanced STAR program, but the tax situation is another hurdle and another challenge with this program. The governor created a 10-year abatement for real estate tax increase for the +1 for any ADU, right? But the catch with that is, so that's would be wonderful because for the first 10 years, and you don't have to pay any tax increase at all. But the catch with that is each town has to enact that themselves. So the town of Yorktown would have to enact that code or law or whatever you want to call it. Croton-on-Hudson has enacted it for their town. So maybe maybe we will. We will.
We have a question here.
Yes, where can you apply? And
For application, I have a lot of cards, and I have flyers. I run the program. I'm running a couple of programs in Westchester, but you only deal with me. I'm the only one who looks at your financial information. I'm the only one you deal with throughout the program. And the way this program is, it's not like an online application or something. So you can go to the Habitat for Humanity New York City Westchester website and read about the program a little bit more. But it will direct you to call me directly or email me.
What's the number?
I'm going to,
No, say it, because it's on TV.
oh, it's 646-779-8893. 646-779-8893. I will ask you a few simple questions, and if it looks like you're going to qualify, I take your address and I send it to our zoning partners at Housing Action Council. They do some research in Yorktown and see exactly what's going to be allowed on your property, what we're going to be able to get through the building department. If that checks out, then I email you the actual application. And it's a fillable document, so you can do it on your computer. And then you just attach, I need a bunch of documents, obviously. I need things like most recent tax return to verify that your income is in the correct area. And I need, some bank information, various things, and along with the deed to your property to prove that you own. Yes.
Okay. You said you were involved in a couple of programs. By any chance, the Aging in Place where homeowners can get their...
I don't do aging in place, but I certainly can. If anyone wants to contact me, I will forward them. We partner with a different group in that, and the woman who does intake for that is not at Habitat.
Okay,
but
so
I
she
can
is in
I can
Westchester.
forward you to her.
because that program is something that almost everybody
Yes,
would be in.
that's a wonderful program. You get, for that program, you receive up to $15,000 grant to make some improvements in your house so that you can stay in your home as you age. Things like in the bathroom, guardrails. I don't know if you can get a walk-in tub for that.
I don't know, but it's a really good program.
Yeah.
There is an income.
A ramp. For that program, you have to be 80% AMI, which is lower than this program. But it is. You're right. That is a good.
Yeah, if we could
That
get
is a good
somebody
program,
here.
and we have capacity in that program now.
What is your number if people have questions?
I said we should
It's
just
646-779-8893. I'm going to walk around and give everyone a card that wants one. And my other program is, did anyone have damage in their home from Hurricane Ida?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
I know a friend, and she was refused.
Because she was refused by FEMA.
No, by you guys.
Was she over income?
It was legitimate, and I'm a former founder of the Westchester Habitat years and years ago, and I went, Habitat refused you?
I'm
I'll
questioning
call you.
that.
I'll call you.
I haven't turned anyone down yet for
Okay.
this program. I've put some people on hold who were extremely high income.
Okay.
Because that's an 80% AMI program. So have her, because there have been different IDA programs,
Okay.
but this one just launched at the end of October. So we're still taking applications. We haven't really denied people, so it's interesting. Does she have a?
Well, she had to have the work done. Is that going to deny her?
Oh, no, because that's the beautiful thing about the IDA program is that we reimburse up to $30,000.
And she's hurting because she had to put out that money.
We reimburse of course, the
Okay.
federal government was very slow on getting this money out. The hurricane happened 3 years ago. It was September 1st, 2021. So, most people have made their repairs or makeshift repairs or something. So we're reimbursing $20,000. We're giving $20,000 maximum for mitigation, meaning for a generator or things like that to make this not happen in the future. And we're giving $50,000 for repairs yet to be done.
Okay.
Okay.
Good to know.
Are there any other questions that we have?
The 10-year, they have to stay in your place for 10 years. What if you don't?
You have to pay the grant back.
What if they pass away?
Then usually if someone passes away, then first of all, the grant is reduced by 10% a year that you're there. So let's say you die after 5 years, then you're supposedly going to have to pay $62,500 back, right? But quite frankly, I don't think anyone's going to come after you because that's what I mean, that's not the official word, but I don't think we're going after people for that.
Second part of the question is this federally funded? Are the funds still going to be there?
Well, the thing is, oh, yes, it says this is federal money because we have a very crazy situation going on now, and especially for nonprofits, we have no idea if money is coming or going. The Hurricane Ida money is from HUD. So that is, it was voted on and given to us by Congress last year. So, but who knows what could happen? That's right. But so far, they've been making the payments. As far as the Plus One program, that's a state program. Some money has come from the federal government, but we have the money.
Wonderful.
Okay, I think we'll move on because
Yeah,
we have
sorry.
That's okay. I'm sure people will talk to you during the afternoon, but we have a few more women that I would like to have speak for us.
Thank you.
Sure. And I don't want to hold people. Diana Quast, I was wondering if there's anything you might want to say to our members here?
I'm just going to mention that the Mobiletown Clerk's office will be up and running April 2nd. And but if you need anything before then, contact my office at 914-962-8152, and we'll get whatever you need done. Thank you.
Thank you, Diana. Also, we have Daryl. I don't know if Daryl has any more information that she wants to share.
We just wanted to announce about the AAA driving course and also the Department of Motor Vehicles driving course. I went online and took my course, and you can take it over. They give you 30 days. I wouldn't do 30 days. I'd forget what I did the first 15. So I did it, I think, within a week. You can stop and start whenever you want. And I received a certificate, and I am saving $10.50 per month simply by taking that course. And we also wanted to let everybody know that there are classes.
1090 is on your insurance. Just let them
Yeah,
know.
I didn't say, in 10, there was a reduction in my insurance of $10.50. There's also classes being held at the Hotel MTK. That's the hotel that's in Mount Kisco. That's the official name of it now, Hotel MTK, 1 Pat Riley Way. And they're having classes March 9th, April 16th, May 4th, June 8th. And you can call the hotel and ask to speak to events, and that number is 914-241-2600. And of course, the Department of Motor Vehicle course online is dmv.com. That's all I have.
Okay, now we have Deborah.
Sure, thank you.
A wealth of information for us.
I'll keep it short. In light of some issues with, water and prices going up, I did bring some easy ways to conserve water at home brochures, so I will leave them in the back. Also, I was at a meeting in Putnam, which made me think about this, where they have the same program with AARP volunteers doing tax returns, of course, all at the libraries. But their appointments were all booked already, and I'm not sure, I hadn't heard how it's going in Westchester and in Yorktown. But something that did come across my desk in case that happens, an alternative to try, there is a free tax prep program by Westchester County Career Center, Westchester Putnam Career Center Network. There is nothing exactly in Yorktown, but I did look, and I'll leave these in the back as well. There is something like in Ossining, which is a 10-minute drive. It's not too bad. So I will leave these also in the back in case anybody needs some help with taxes. And if you wanted to call to find out if there's anything open, You can just call 211. That's the easiest number to call. So, that's it.
Just
Joe,
as
you
a
have
side
any-
note to that, I know a CPA in town that's offered to help any seniors that they need help with,
That is a great
with their
thing.
taxes. So if you need help, just contact my office.
Oh, very good. Joe, do you have anything to say? Okay. Are we okay?
We're all good.
All right. I really thank you all for coming. I hope you enjoyed our meeting and our speakers, and we will see you next month. Thank you.